Hi, welcome to the world of hacking. Today we are going to learn XML External Entity Attack, which is called XXE Attack. So it is also one type of an attack where it is mostly happening in any XML pages. If an web application contains any XML pages, this attack is possible. It is very easy attack and we can do it exploitation as well for this attack. So let us understand what is XXE attack and how we can perform XXE attack by showing any kind of a demo example. So let us go for by the standard definitions from the OWSP and ports figure. So let us go from OWSP. What is an XXE attack? So external entity attack, it is a type of attack against an application that parses XML input. This occurs when XML input containing a reference to an external entity is processed by a weakly configured XML parser. So this attack is leading to disclosure of confidential data, denial of service, server-side request forgery, and lot of attacks which is being happening in the market. And what is the definition from the ports figure? It is a web security vulnerability that allows an attacker to interfere with an application's processing of XML data. So basically, this attack is used to get the information from the server to disclose any confidential data. Now, according to our definition in an easy language, XML external entity, it is basically a web security vulnerability. This attack happens when an XML page is parsing, and due to the configuration of that error, this particular entity is being defined externally, and we would be getting the disclosure of the confidential data. So what is this external entity? What is this XML parsing pages? So let us see some code here which is shown. So this is one type of a payload. If any application, if you're seeing a request of XML pages which is parsing, then definitely we would require, the syntax declaration which is needed for defining the doc type. So the doc type will be the declaration first, which will be declaring the local entity. So for example, when you take any of the XML is request is happening, we need to declare the local entity, which is the doc type. And to this reference the entity in an existing, we should define some XML element which is present here. So whatever, the happening, the code, we need to define this kind of payload to retrieve some confidential data from the server. Let us see one practical example how this XXE attacks happens. So we are using here Portswigger website to define this XML external entity, and we use burpsuit tool to perform this attack. So we can have this URL XXE lab from the burpsuit Portswigger website. We will be trying to access the lab. And in this application, XML is parsing in this web page where we can try an XXE attack in this application. So this is one of the web page where we will be trying to intercept and see if XML page is parsing out. We have an option here, check stock, and we will be intercepting on and try to capture the check stock. And we got some request. In this request, you can see XML version encoding. That means there is some XML pages going on in this request. Now send this to repeater to perform this attack and see the disclosure of any confidential data. So in the post request, in the product stock directory, there is some XML pages trying to get some details from the server. So the stock ID of the particular London, we have some number. So if any web page is having XML page which is parsing, then definitely we will to have some entity has to be declared. So just remember, if XML in the request, then we need to declare the local entity, and also to reference the entity in an existing XML element, we need to include the payload. So what is the payload that we have? This is the payload that we are trying to declare it as external. So I'm just entering this payload here. And in this payload, the doc type will be the, for example, test. And from this externally, we are trying to retrieve the system file of etc password. We are trying to retrieve the etc password folder of the server and get all the results. And try to give this first, and if you face any issues, that means we have not defined the syntax properly. And just sending. So we got 200 okay, and there is no sensitive information which is been defined with etc password, because we are defining an entity here and we need to declare this entity in the product ID. So in the product ID, let us define XXE, which is mentioning in the externally and trying to retrieve the file of etc password. Now just send this request and we would be able to see the complete data of the particular etc password elements. Since we got the 400 bad request, but if you see the response, you can see the all the etc password folder, what all the users, what all the different results that has been shown here. So this is possible that where if you are defining this external entity, then this particular attack is happening. So that's it. Like, to discover this exploitation, we need to change the local entity to external entity, and we can try to read any files from the server. So hope you have seen this successful attack of XXE. Thank you for watching. Have a happy hacking. Thank you.